Well, I'm talking with Robert Rebholtz Jr., who is the CEO at AgriBeef, and Robert's father, Bob Rebholtz, the late Bob Rebholtz, is the latest inductee into the Cattle Feeders Hall of Fame, and well-deserved for someone who had such an impact on the cattle business nationally and in the northwestern United States. And Robert, I was just hoping you could tell us a little bit about AgriBeef, a little bit about the history and where the company is today, and then maybe talk about the impact that your father had on bringing that company to where it is today.
Well, thank you, John, for the kind comments. Basically, our family business was founded 45 years ago by my dad. In fact, we're coming up on the 45th anniversary here this next year. And he was essentially a small kid that grew up in Central California, in the Bay Area, but dreamed of being a cowboy. And was fortunate enough to pursue those dreams, and over time got involved in his first cattle feeding operation around 1968. And from there, that's what was the empathy of AgriBeef. At that point in time, we were probably 4 employees, including my mom and dad and 2 other employees, and today we're about 1,200 employees. Part of his vision early on, first of all, he loved the cattle business, and the more he got involved in the cattle business over time, especially with genetics and other things like that, he wanted to get closer to the consumer. And fortunately, about 10 years ago, well, historically we'd been more of a ranching and cattle feeding company, and about 10 years ago we had an opportunity to buy a processing plant in Central Washington that allowed us to become a vertically integrated business. And so today we're about 1,200 employees, and doing our best to go out there and sell as much beef as we can to our end consumers and build a lot of customer loyalty along the way. Early on in the late 1980s, he had taken a trip to Japan, and he learned a little bit about the Wagyu breed and what we know as Kobe beef. And he thought at that point in time that he could bring back some of those genetics, or somehow find access to those genetics, and we could start producing those same kind of animals, that same kind of beef, and shipping it to Japan, because we felt at that point in time, or I should say he felt at that time, that the United States had a better cost advantage than, say, Japan. We didn't see the opportunities that would present themselves over time, but once that Japanese market started to change and deteriorate, we quickly learned that we had to start selling that domestically, and it was about that time in the late 90s that we finally started developing the Snickborough Farms brand name, started focusing on food service, and lo and behold, have been fortunate enough to get some accounts like Wolfgang Puck and Thomas Keller and accounts like those.
One of the things that really stands out as I've talked with some of the AgriBeef staff about Mr. Rebholtz's influence and the kind of presence he had in the company was just that he really seemed to care about the people within the company and wanted to make sure that they all had the opportunity to contribute and advance themselves within the business.
I would say that's true. It's a culture that he tried to establish early, and to describe my dad, he was very much a people person, and he wanted to attract people to the business that were kind of self-starters, willing to work real hard, be creative and think outside the box and whatever. And so that kind of culture is what he established and what we have attempted to kind of continue going forward.